So if I share my screen, you can record that, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Uh, how's it going, everybody? Okay, yeah, is the recording going? Oh yeah, I guess it is.
It is.
Cool. Well, first off, I'll just ask, I know some of the people here, shout out to Brand and Rather who have been contributing to Pacto and Unai for organizing events around Pacto. Welcome, Ron. But yeah, for the other folks who are not on the Pacto core team, do you know what Pacto is, or do you have you heard of it, or are you just jumping in for the monthly temp check blindly? Okay, sweet. Jumping in blindly. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, I've
Well
been
done.
yeah, so let's see, for about a year now, as of May of 2025, we started this project Pacto. Rather has kind of been there since the beginning, and Bren joined a little bit later, as well as Unai. And kind of the original idea was like kind of based on, so I've been working in DAOs like Red Guild and now here in Bread Co-op, these organizations that primarily live and organize and communicate in Discord, but are Web3 integrated, so we have to use various different websites, and we have to get wallets, and we have to somehow get native coin on the wallets to fund gas fees, and then we need to connect to websites that hopefully are secure, um, and don't drain our wallets. And the kind of like technical overhead to just like using Web3 is really difficult. And if you're like a DeFi person, it's not a big deal. But if you're like a governance person, it's really inconvenient. And it also is not intuitive that you need like a financial tool to access governance, um, because a lot of people don't understand gas fees and the game theory around running the blockchain. And so it's like it feels weird if you have to tell them like you have to go to some DeFi exchange to get coin in order to just be able to vote. And so the idea with Pacto is like, how can we make, first of all, a privacy version of Discord that is truly private, that cannot be backdoored, that cannot be, the corporations and governments cannot see the data, and ideally decentralized so that it is censorship resistant, and then have an embedded wallet in there so you don't need to mess with any wallets. And then how can we get these wallets sponsored in a collective way so that you don't even need gas fees to interact with on-chain stuff? And so after a lot of research and design, we decided to basically break it into two layers. There is the Nostr layer, which is Nostr is, anyone know what Nostr is? How many people? Or who doesn't know what Nostr is?
I don't.
Okay, cool. So Nostr is basically it's just a kind of a very simple client relay network. So it's a proxy network. Anyone can spin up a relay, and the way it works is you just choose a handful of relays to send data to and pull data from. And the original people who created Nostr, they're like, how do we do Twitter but make it decentralized? And think, okay, cool. And so yeah, and then some people, they took the MLS engine, which is message layer security, that was originally developed by Signal, and they made a Rust version of that MLS engine on Nostr. So then people started building essentially Signal clones on Nostr. So it's like decentralized versions of Signal. And so we kind of we took a I can show real quick this app called Vector, which is, we forked this for some of the message layer stuff. So you can see this is essentially, it's a decentralized version of, here's a chat. It's basically just like Signal. You have chats, you have group chats. It's pretty simple, but it works well for the communication. So all the communication is private and decentralized, and it is not only is the content private, but the metadata is private. So who is talking to who and when is all private. So we forked that for the communication layer, and then we made an integrated embedded wallet, and we're doing governance and financial stuff on the blockchain, and it's all integrated. So rather than just talk about it, I'll just share kind of how it works. So I'll start with, can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So this is what the user will see the first time they open the app, and this is a downloadable app. It is not available in as a web app because it requires local encryption. So you have to download the app for it to work. You cannot access it through a website. Now, if you're migrating devices, you might be familiar with this if you've used Signal or WhatsApp. You can put in your seed phrase to migrate devices. But if you're a first-time user, you'll just click create account. And it's very simple. You just put in a PIN, you confirm the PIN, and the first time you log in, it takes a little bit longer than the next time you log in because the first time it's creating all your keys under the hood. So what's happening right now is it's generating a seed phrase for you, and then it's deriving a Nostr key for you. So the Nostr key is basically your identity. So you have a seed phrase, and a Nostr key. They actually just use the Bitcoin library, so it's actually just a Bitcoin key. And the kind of the selling point of Nostr is not only is it a decentralized network, but you own your data. And you own your data because you own your keys, right? And so you get a Bitcoin key that is derived from your seed phrase, and then it's signified as a Nostr key with this NSEC, and standing for Nostr. So this key, you only get one of these, and this represents your essentially your identity in the app. And then you get an EVM key, which you can see right here. But the cool thing about the EVM part is I can, let's see, I can add, I can add another key here, and it should show all my keys. So yeah, so basically you can have as many EVM keys as you want. You only have one Nostr key because the Nostr key represents your identity, and the EVM keys, just like any wallet, you can have multiple accounts. And so this might be, you can use this for different squads, which we'll get to in a second. But all of this is derived from one seed phrase. So if you remember if you're logging in to migrate a device, all you need to do is migrate the seed phrase. And from the seed phrase, your Nostr keys and all your EVM keys are derived from this single seed phrase. And then the other thing to remember is the Nostr key is your identity on the network.
There's a question there, Daopunk.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm about to get to that. That's just a little bit of pre-knowledge here. So yeah, so once you log in for the first time and you get your seed phrase and it derives your Nostr key, you will be in this comments area, and you can click on different things you're interested in. Like if you're interested in, I don't know, socialism, you see these tags here, and you can see who has broadcasted to the socialism, and you can request to join. You can also just go search latest, see who's there. You can search squads, you can search other users, you can DM users, or you can join squads. You can see who's new or who's been around. Oh, maybe that's not working. And you can also start your own broadcast. So if I want to broadcast, so everything in here is private except for the broadcast. So the broadcast is not private because it's a public event that allows you to be searchable or search for other people. So if I'm new to the app and I don't know anybody, I can be like, okay, what am I into? I'm into crypto and, film and, I don't know, research, really vague, but, and then I can say, hello world, and I can choose how long I want to broadcast this, and I can also terminate the broadcast at any time. So I'm going to broadcast that for 72 hours, and it sends an event to the Nostr protocol, and I can already see active broadcast with crypto, film, and research. I can terminate that if I want to, and we should see over here, I can look at the latest broadcast, and I see this new user. So as I said before, to answer, well, you asked about the EVM keys. With the Nostr key, this is your identity. And since this is a new user, I haven't added a name, so I'll add, I don't know, I'll just put John. So I'll save that, and this is actually the other public event that broadcasts to Nostr. So the only two public events that will ever happen from this event is if you update your profile name or bio or profile picture, that will send a public event to Nostr, and then if you broadcast, that will also send a public event. But anyway, this name should not be an npub. In just a minute, once it picks up on the relay, it will update to the name John, just as it says Delta and Z and the other names over here. And so I'm actually going to see, okay, this is a new user. I want to DM them. Hi, John. And send that. And that goes into the pending because this is a new person I'm not friends with. So it's going to be pending. And over here, over here, we'll see in the request, we have a notification. Who is this from? This is from this person. Hello. And these are going, so I'm in Colombia. These are running through relays. You can actually check your relays down here. I'm going through JSKitty and an Asian relay. So just real quick on Nostr, the reason why this is decentralized is because I'm writing to all of these relays simultaneously, and I'm pulling data. It says read and write. So if one of these relays goes down, the other relays presumably stay up, and that way I can't be censored. So that's why this is a censorship-resistant decentralized communication protocol, and we're using the MLS engine to make sure everything is private. And these relays are mostly in the US. I don't think there are any in South America, and you can see how fast these are going because this is running live. This is not in my local environment, this is live. And so now that we've DM'd each other, now we've moved out of the pending into the requests into the friends area. And you'll see there is a embedded wallet because to answer your question about the EVM keys, the EVM keys are used for many things, but in the context of the DMs, we have an embedded wallet. We're on Sepolia. Because this is a new key that was just generated by this user, they don't have any money, but I do have money on this user in Sepolia. And so if I want to, I can send, by default, the EVM keys aren't shared, but I can say I want to share my EVM key with this user, which shares the public wallet, and we can accept. And now they can do financial transactions with each other. And now this person could be like, I don't have money, like give me some money if they want. And then this shows up here and I can accept this payment and I'm going to confirm that. And you'll see it is in progress. We can actually check this on Etherscan right now. So it's indexing, but it says it has confirmed, and we should see that the transaction is updated in their account in just 1 second once this indexes on Sepolia, which Sepolia is slower than a lot of other networks. But here we go, we have an success. And in just a second, we'll get a read. Maybe I've refreshed the balance here. Okay, there we go. So now I have $1 in this wallet. So yeah, this is happening, if you remember, this user, all I did is type in a PIN, never had to mess with wallet stuff, and they're able to just use the embedded wallet and sign transactions and receive funds. Then we have an inbox over here. This is where squad invites will come in a second. You can also pin messages into this area if you want to organize your chats. So that's the DM area and the wallet for DMs. Any questions right now before I keep going forward? Okay, so let me see. So you said Nostr is a decentralized Twitter alternative using relays to store data and blockchain technology to keep the relays consistent. So it actually doesn't have anything to do with a blockchain other than, so the people who originally built Nostr were like blockchain, they were Bitcoin people. So the original developer, rather than reinvent, cryptography, they're like, well, we can just use the Bitcoin library to generate our key pairs. And so Nostr is kind of inherently integratable with Bitcoin because they use the same keys. And so once they built decentralized Twitter, there's a whole bunch of like Primal and a whole bunch of clients like that. People started integrating zaps, which are micropayments over the Lightning Network. But no one has integrated Ethereum into Nostr. And it's not that hard because if you have a Bitcoin key, well, Ethereum is like 2 more steps away from a Bitcoin key because Ethereum was forked from Bitcoin, so it's also inherently compatible. So if you have a Bitcoin key, you can derive an Ethereum key from it. And so that's kind of why these things are related. Nostr is not actually connected to the blockchain, but people have made integrations. Pacto is an example of how we can integrate this. And it's really great because the blockchain, it's an immutable database that is very redundant and computationally expensive, hence why we pay gas fees. But that's important for financial stuff and governance stuff. But when it comes to communication, and especially stuff like Twitter, I mean, kind of the goal of Twitter is like to go viral, which literally means the opposite of scarcity. So running a Twitter clone on the blockchain would be stupid because you're creating scarcity where there should be abundance. And so that's why blockchain and Nostr are a great pairing, because you can run the communication stuff, which is not scarce, on a cheap decentralized network that is private. And then the stuff that matters, the financial stuff and the governance stuff, you just, you can have keys that are derived from the Bitcoin key so that there is a connection with that network, but then you're actually executing on the blockchain, so you get the trustlessness of the blockchain. Let's see, I don't have money, please. Oh, can I zoom in? Yeah, how can I do that? I'm not sure how I would zoom in, because this is actually, I'm sharing the full screen right now. Is it pretty bad? Do you want me to just kind of share one screen at a time? I could do that.
Yeah, or maybe Quasar, if you have something specific that you want Daopunk to zoom in.
No, I'm just blind. I just can't see that well,
Okay.
and I don't want to get a microfine glass, or what do you call it?
I mean,
no,
the thing is that I
good.
could expand it, but that doesn't really zoom in. I don't know if this is easy.
It does help, though. It does help.
Okay, cool. Let me just open all of these windows up then. Okay, cool. Okay, sweet. So yeah, so this is the DM wallet.
Hunter, I have a few questions about you mentioned broadcast, squads, but I think you didn't mention what each of those is.
Yeah, so broadcasts these are public events that go to Nostr unencrypted. So anyone can pick up this event and they can see this is from this person, and they put these tags, and that's why anyone is able to see these broadcasts. So they are unencrypted events. And that's the only two unencrypted events that happen on this app are if you do a broadcast, which you don't have to. You could just never broadcast, and then you never have a public event here. And then the other thing is your profile. This is another Nostr standard that if you change your name, let's see if it picked up the name change over here. Okay, no, we still haven't picked this up, but sometimes it takes a little time to pick up public events. But yeah, if you update your profile, your image, your bio, or your name, this is also a public event. So in this app, there are only two unencrypted events that happen on Nostr: broadcasting and updating your profile. DMs are totally encrypted. We are running transactions on the public ledger on Arbitrum. Well, in this case, Sepolia. Those are not encrypted. But like I said before, you can use as many EVM keys as you want, so you can kind of get semi anonymity by rotating your keys. And yeah, and now we'll get to squads.
Okay, so maybe my question was in the home page, let's say, like what are all those categories? Like those are picking like broadcasts by anyone using Nostr that is using those tags. Is it like that?
Exactly. So you can see like if we click on DAOs, the thing that is under the category of DAO is DAO, Moloch, multisig, da da da. So I can also just search by latest, and this will be like anyone with any tag can search here. I can filter for squads. I can filter for users. I can filter for people who have been around. I can filter for people who just joined. This is a new user. That's why they're here. I can do double filters, you know. Or if I'm just like, I want to find people who are into the stuff I'm into. If I'm into, if I'm into communism, it's like, well, who else is into communism? This person is communist. So maybe I want to, oh, this is a squad. So maybe I want to join this squad because it aligns with my values. Culture, I see that John is into film. So maybe I want to DM John. We already DM'd, that's why that button disappeared, but does that make sense?
Yeah, but like that's maybe something like who decides the tags and.
So that's hard coded. So I'm
Okay.
going to take community requests for that, but yeah, you can't, if you like, let me terminate this broadcast and redo it. So if I do this broadcast, there's all these tags here, or I can search by the category. So I say I'm a Taoist, I'm into economics, I'm into decentralization. So yeah, all of these tags are hard coded in the app. That way we don't end up with like a million different custom tags that the app needs to keep track of. And I say hello. I put it for 72 hours broadcast. And let's see. Oops. Let's see over here. Should pick up the broadcast in just 1 second. What's this? Wait, that was John. Okay. Sorry, I get confused with that. So this is my broadcast because I'm in John's profile. Oh yeah, and then it doesn't come up as John still, because we still haven't picked up the public event for the name change, but this will eventually be John. Does that make sense?
Not fully, but like yeah, I think it. Yeah, I guess you have many things to share, so continue, please. Yeah.
Okay. And another question. Okay, how is Nostr related to Parkon? Do you mean Pacto? The name of this app is Pacto, or I don't know. Yeah. So Pacto, how is it related? So Pacto is a client. If we go to Primal, this is my Primal account. Just accept that. So this is another client. This is one of these decentralized Twitters that we talked about. So you'll notice, the cool thing about this is it's permissionless. So I'm using JS relay, and you can see here's JS right here. JS is someone I follow, and they're running a relay, so it's a public relay. And I said, okay, I want to broadcast to their relay because I trust them. Also, like, why not use Primal itself? Because Primal is a client. This is the Primal app, and they're running their own relays, and their relays are fast. And so I said, okay, I want to broadcast to Primal. I'm also broadcasting to Damus, which is another clone, Twitter clone, and then some random computing cache, Vector app, which is Vector's the fork for the communication layer. So yeah, the clients. So yeah, how does Pacto relate to Nostr? So Nostr is the network, and clients like Primal and Pacto and Vector, they're just applications built on top of the Nostr network. Vector link. Okay, yeah. Here's I'll give you the app, and then do you want the GitHub as well?
No, thank you. I'm good. I can grab it.
Okay. I'll just throw it in there in case anybody else is interested. Cool. So yeah, any other questions before I move on to squads?
So, so Nostr is the back-end technology, the series of servers and that are keeping track of the data and the as well as the protocol that's being used, protocol and cryptography that's being used to share the data and keep it consistent across these network of servers that are all each meant to be able to keep track of the entire thing. But
Yeah,
and then Pacto is one of several front-end software user interfaces through which you can connect to the network.
yeah. That's more or less correct. So yeah, it's you said servers that are decentralized that people are running. Yeah, those are the nodes that run the Nostr network. And then the main difference between the blockchain being a decentralized network and Nostr being a decentralized network is when you broadcast something to the blockchain, it goes literally every single node running the blockchain gets that information, gossips that information. So that's why you have a trustless state. So if I send $1 to you, every single node in the world on Ethereum knows that I sent $1 to you, so I cannot double spend that. The difference with Nostr is I choose the nodes I want to send to. So I'm like, okay, I want to send it to this node, this node, this node, this node, and I want to read and write to these nodes. So not every single node on Nostr keeps my state. It's only the nodes I choose to write and pull from. And that's why it's not trustless.
That's interesting. So the nodes aren't trying to keep track of the same record.
No, but the reason your data is sovereign is because of I hold the I hold my Nostr key. Oops. Oh, gosh. Keep forgetting which one this is. Okay, other password. Oh wait, I'm not. Never mind. I'm not gonna share this one. Well, you get the point. So there's a private key for Nostr, and because I'm signing with my private key, no matter where I send my data, I own my data because I'm the one who signed that. And if it's encrypted, which most of everything is encrypted on this app, on this client, then that allows me to decrypt. So I'm sending, when it comes to communication, I'm sending encrypted notes to all of these nodes, and they can't read it because it's encrypted. But when I pull it into my client, which is this app, then I can decrypt it.
And so then only people who you give the right keys to can decrypt it. because how?
Yeah, exactly. So, and this basically is with a DM. So there's two ways to encrypt. You can encrypt things with your public key or your private key. If you encrypt with the public key, you have to decrypt with the private key. If you encrypt with the private key, you decrypt with the public key. And so if I'm
Right.
in a conversation, yeah. So um, so basically I'm encrypting with, like, if I'm talking to Delta, I'm using my private key to encrypt, and then I'm wrapping that with encryption of Delta's public key. Then Delta receives the message, and Delta uses their private key to decrypt the first layer, and then my public key to decrypt the second layer. Does that make sense?
So so you're I think I do. So both of your public keys are being so you're using your private key to encrypt it, and as well as their public key to encrypt it, and because of that, you know that only they can read it, and they know that it's you that sent it.
Exactly. Cool. So yeah, let's move on to squads. Um,
And then
so yeah,
how does Vector fit into that? You're posting this Vector stuff. How is that related?
so vector basically is just a signal. It's like Signal if you put it on Nostr. And the problem with Signal is not decentralized. It is private, but it is running on Signal servers. So if you had a state level actor that was like, well, we can't see who's talking to who, but we can just target the servers and shut down Signal. You could disrupt, a protest movement in some country. But if you're running basically Signal, but on Nostr, i.e. something like Vector, um, now not only do you have privacy, but it's decentralized. So now you have to target every single relay that all of the protesters are using, and that's a lot harder to stop than something like Signal, which is a centralized cloud service.
So I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Um, yeah, let's see. Where's my Signal? So yeah, I mean, let me log in. So Vector is just simply it's just a messenger. Like Unai's in here, I can say, hey, Unai. And this is like, just imagine using Signal, but it's over Nostr. And that's, so this vector, just like Primal and just like Pacto, these are all just clients that are built on top of the Nostr network. And
Okay.
so the reason why we forked Vector is because the code, the template that they were using was this thing called Tari, which is what we wanted to build Pacto with, and they were already using Tari, and they had already figured out the messaging. And so we were like, okay, well, we'll just fork their code. And so yeah, the messaging, the code has evolved a lot since we forked back in December. But yeah, the original messaging was built using Vector's client that we forked into Pacto. And that's part of the reason why I'm still using Vector's relay is because, it's compatible with the relay. But anyway, yeah, so
So so what's the difference between messaging someone using Vector versus direct messaging someone using a Pacto?
just the client ID. So when the events go through the relays, when it goes through, if I send an event through JSKitty's relay, there'll be a client ID, which will be Pacto. And if you use Vector, the client ID will be vector. And so that helps relays to filter. If they want to filter out spam from certain clients, they can. But it works the same aside from one tag that specifies the client ID.
So then what's the advantage of using vector over just using Pacto?
Well, so Pacto, I'm about to get to squads, so I'll move on to squads. But yeah, essentially, vector is just like Signal, but decentralized. It is not like Discord. There's no governance integration. It's just a very simple communication app.
Okay.
Whereas Pacto, we have these commons, we can find each other, we have DMs, but not only do we have DMs, we have a built-in wallet right here with the DMs, which does, there's no, if I go in here, there's no wallet here. So yeah, we have the embedded wallet, so we can do transactions, and then I'll move on to squads. So I'm gonna organize a squad, and I'll just say, I'll call this demo in the squad. In public, this isn't going to make the squad public, but it will make it broadcastable. I should probably change the naming, but just like you can broadcast yourself, you can broadcast the squad. And we're on Sepolia, and then I'm going to invite a few people here. I'm intentionally not inviting John, who's this npub right here, so you can see how invites and stuff work. But we'll create a squad. So this is creating a group messaging server, like a Discord server, but we call it squads. And it takes usually takes a minute or so to set up. But in the meantime, I can show you what will be created. So if we create a fresh squad, we'll get a dashboard, we get announcements channel, we get a join request channel. We get a personal alerts, which personal alerts are basically notifying squad members what they need to do to be good members of the squad. In this case, it's asking me, do you want to share your EVM key, or do you want to generate a custom key for this squad? I can generate a custom key, and we'll get an announcement. Yeah, so we see, okay, you updated your key, and now that personal alert disappeared. We get an announcement. The announcements are squad wide. So I see I updated my EVM key. And why do we need an EVM key in a squad? This is my EVM key in the squad. The reason is to participate in governance. But before I get to the governance, let's go back to the squad. Still setting up. Should be set up in just 1 second. Let's just wait for this to finish. Okay, boom. We're ready. So now we can see personal alert. Set up your key. Okay, I'm going to use my default signer because I have some money on that to pay for gas. And then, who did I invite? I invited all these people. I did not invite John, but I did broadcast this. You can see over here. Oh, wait, no active broadcast. Okay. Thought I did. Okay, broadcast the squad. Done. Very cool. So now we have an active broadcast and it says hello demo. Now I'm in John's thing and I see, okay, hello demo. They're into AI, LLMs, and ML. That's cool. I want to join them. Requested to join. Now we see over here in the join requests. Maybe, okay, there we go. We're going to accept that. And we'll see it's working here. So once it's done working, go to the inbox over here. So there's two ways to invite. You can, when you spin up the squad, you can invite. Let's see, maybe there's a bug here. Let's see if they get the invite. Well, basically, you can, from the commons, you can request to join, and then if they approve, okay, there we go. Now we got the, okay, demo has approved your request, and now they're going to accept, and now they're in here. Cool. And now they get a personal alert. Okay, I'm going to generate a new key for this. Creating, we can see announcements. Okay, you updated your NVM key. Announcements over here is you updated your EVM key, and now John has joined and they updated their EVM key. So you can see people are sharing their EVM keys. So we'll go to the dashboard, and the cool thing about this is to avoid dealing with individual gas fees, there's a sponsor contract. So this person already has a little bit of gas. So basically, if one person in your squad knows how to use crypto, they can fund the sponsor contract. And this is deploying to Sepolia. And then because this person, because John, you can see in their the wallet, actually they do have a little bit of money here, but they generated a new key for that squad that they joined, because like I said, you can generate as many keys as you want. And so let's just actually check their key, make sure it doesn't have any money. We can put this into Sepolia. We can see that they don't have any ETH. Okay, and so the idea with this is as long as one person funds the sponsor contract, which was deployed, we can check that here. It's still indexing, so that's why you don't see the contract. But if I go to a previous, this one was deployed a while ago, so it will be verified. So its source code is verified. Squad sponsor is something that I built and deployed on Sepolia. This is actually a clone because you can see it read as proxy. So there's a factory that deploys all of the squad infrastructure. So it's very cheap because everything is a clone. And why does this matter? Why do we need a squad sponsor? Well, because one person funded the squad. Now, people who don't have money, but they do have embedded wallets and they have either shared or generated a key to interact with the squad, they can now participate in governance. And so, now we can deploy, we can see, okay, squad sponsor has been deployed, check mark, we already did that. What's the next step? Well, we can deploy an admin, or we can deploy a governance contract. Let's just go for the whole thing. Actually, I'm going to do it from. Now we're getting to the part where this is like kind of a little bit of a work in the progress, because I've been working on this for a long time, and I'm working out the governance stuff here. But yeah, look, boom, we just deployed a whole thing. We have a treasury, we have admin contract, quartermaster, mutiny module. I'm going to do another presentation at a later point in time to go over the governance, because it's a little bit too much complexity to cover in this. But we can see that all of this stuff is deploying. We're getting all of these contracts, everything's verified. We have sponsored gas fees within the squad that uses EIP 7702, which treats EOAs as smart contract wallets so that they can forward the logic and check if they are able to be sponsored. If they're a member of the squad, they can get sponsored so they can participate in governance. And then this is loading. Yeah, so this is a really ugly hats tree. Everything's a work in progress, but we are, if you're familiar with hats protocol, that's kind of out of the scope of this presentation because we're wrapping up here, but this is generating a hats tree that is connected to the smart contracts, connected to roles that people have within the squad. And again, I'm not going to get too much into the details of the governance, but there's a captain who founds the organization. The crew can mutiny the captain. The captain is just a hat that you can move, which is essentially an NFT. So you can move the captain from an EOA or a smart contract wallet, and you can move that to, say, Governor Bravo or any sort of governance contract you want. So the whole governance system is upgradable. So this governance is designed in a way that everything is upgradable. The governance that's deployed from the app is just a template from which you can upgrade the governance using hats, NFTs. And so everything is embedded. You can also deploy individual safes if you have a team that you want to fund them for a specific project and you don't want to touch the treasury of the you don't want to touch the treasury related to governance. You can just spin up a little safe and deposit money from the treasury so that's isolated, and you can put signers of the team on that safe. So there's infinite ways to organize money and governance and access control. Access control I haven't even gotten into yet, but the access control is all on chain. So basically everything that matters outside of communication, whether we're talking about governance, access control, or finance, all of that is derived from the blockchain. And only the communication is running over the Nostr network. And so what this means is, worst case scenario, you have a government actor who is able to target all of the relays and breaks all your relays, and you have to spin up new relays. You might lose your communication history, but your finances, your governance decisions, and the access control within your squad are not compromised, because all of this is derived from the blockchain, which is the most secure decentralized protocol that we have. And then we have channels. If I go back to demo, I can create a channel. I can say, I want a channel about, I don't know, orgs. We create this. So every channel is an MLS group. So if we go back to why did I fork Vector, or why did we fork Vector? We have group chats, right? Each group chat is its own MLS group, message layer security, which means all the content is encrypted, all the metadata is encrypted. So within the squad, every single channel, is an encrypted communication group, and you can say, I want these members in this channel, and I only, this is a smaller channel, so I only want a few people in this channel. So you can access access control your channels. And yeah, so this is, it's all a work in progress, and I apologize for the UX and the squads, but we have a hackathon coming up in a week or so, and we're going to get more devs on this, and everything's being built out. But this is at the current stage that it's at, and we're trying to launch the MVP in August, which is why we're giving this demo now to get potential alpha users using this and engaging with a totally new app. So yeah, I can give some links right now. I don't have a download link, but I can share the GitHub, and we should find a way to keep in contact. If y'all wanna friend me and DM me, I don't really have a great way to keep in contact at the moment, but please DM me in the future, and I'll try to keep people updated here about the status and when we launch the MVP. But yeah, I'll leave it open to questions now, since we're almost at the top of the hour.
There are some questions by Ron, for example. Quasar was also asking a general question about Nostr.
Okay, so Ron, pre-recorded video.
Network
Not
network
yet.
effects.
Okay, well, so Una, you recorded this, right?
Yes, it's been recorded.
Okay, so we can just send that to Ron because right now there's nothing recorded, Ron. I hope to get more demos this month as I'm doing more presentations and we do the hackathon. And then on desktop, you should be able to see the repo.
So
Okay.
Ron was also asking about the network effect and a potential capture by signal, or how are you planning to address that?
Could you expand on the question if you're still there?
Yeah, absolutely. Like basically you're going for a certain demographic of people, right? Like, and that demographic of people, at least to my discernment, is like currently, I would say, captured by Signal, or like most of the leftist spaces that I know are currently using Signal. So like you need some sort of like distribution or some sort of like essentially this network only works, or at least how I've seen messaging app play out, is that like they start working when there's adoption, and it's like really hard to get people, like the cold start problem is really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Signal's not really our direct competitor. I would say, Vector is a direct competitor with Signal. And if you're asking about Vector, yeah, I think that's a hard question because Vector is just a messenger. We're really competing with, Discord and Slack. And I think we kind of have way more to offer because first off, we're encrypted, we're private, we're decentralized. On top of that, we have financial services integrated with an embedded wallet. We have governance integrated. And as far as our strategy for adoption, we're working with the Chinese community, and I'm a technical person, that. So I'm more focused on building the app and getting the privacy and security right, as well as with other contributors, with Brad working on the product design, and rather working, helping with the governance design, and other people who have been contributing. But yeah, Choni's community is really, with Barbara Lucid, she's kind of spearheading the community development, getting alpha users out there, and connecting with the right people who are interested in governance and haven't found, the killer governance app, since Web3 governance is largely plutocracy or like dysfunctional direct democracy DAOs. There's not really, again, we haven't really even touched the governance structure. Thanks for the clap. We haven't really even gotten into the governance. I would like to do another presentation in the future specifically on governance once we actually have alpha users in here, and take it one step at a time. But I think the governance is really kind of revolutionary in itself, and then making that accessible through an intuitive and easy to use application where you don't have all the friction that you normally expect when using Web3 tooling. I think this product doesn't really have a direct competitor, which is good and bad, because on one hand that means we don't necessarily have an audience outright, but on the other hand, if we work with one community at a time, and people really just enjoy it and start sharing it, I think we can generate that network effect, and we don't really need to compete with Signal per se. Yes, because Kazar, am I saying that right, Kazar? Yes. So this is the Chonies community. They're kind of a curated community. So basically, you would have to talk to with Bar Lucid if you wanted to participate. But anyone who wants to participate in the hackathon, I can put you in contact with Bar Lucid, and she. She tries to protect the community because there's a mix of ideologies in there, and we're kind of all leftists here in Bread Co-op, but she's a little bit afraid of like, you know, ideology, but she wants to keep the community, But yeah, feel free to reach out to me, and I can put you in contact with her if you want to join the hackathon.
I don't know if you mentioned like is this supposed to be only desktop or like is there plans to have a mobile app or
Yeah, definitely looking to have a mobile app in the future. But we kind of have to work out a lot of, there's already so much here. Like we're doing a integration with Unlock protocol for token gated communities, and we already have a list of more features that we want to build in addition to making it mobile. But for right now, there's already so much here that we just need alpha users to test kind of the basics of the MVP before we overbuild it. We want to kind of polish up what exists right now. And I haven't even finished the governance dashboard, as you can see. So yeah, there's so much to do. But yes, ultimately, the mobile version is definitely going to happen.
nice? So main need is users right now, like alpha users, testers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Did you see the other questions I wrote?
No, sorry. Oh, okay. How are you planning? Okay. Can um oh yeah, I've seen POA, and I've talked to Hudson about doing an integration with POA. I've seen the latest
I
pull
already
request.
made the integration, by the way. I also
While on the call.
no, actually yesterday, because I was thinking of you. While I
Uh,
still had Fable access. Please appreciate that I used my Fable and this. But
Dude.
yeah, I did. I also tried to integrate it into SigStack, so there's could be like a agent TE runtime of it. And then I tried to like both like add POA integration into Pacto and like the other way. But sort of, I guess my question is like, how would that look like? What would integration look like? Or, like, are you planning to have pluggable governance into Pacto?
Yeah, we do. So part of the reason why, for example, okay, I'm still sharing. So yeah, part of the reason why this squad admin, you notice I deployed the Pacto Gov, and it includes the squad admin, but you can kind of a la carte deploy the admin so that you can manage admin within the app without the governance structure and without the hats tree. You can plug in your own hats tree, or you could just disregard hats. So yeah, this is all built to be modular. We're not trying to impose any specific governance on people. Of course, we have our own default governance that we think is the most compatible. But if you want to bring in other governance, it's all designed to be modular and evolvable. And then as far as bots, yeah, we want bots. We have people that are potentially building bots. Well, yeah, one contributor is already building bots. Um, and yeah, so like, running bots in T's like we're doing with Signal is likely how we'll do this, for having a bot to help people within their squads to set things up if it's a little bit technically heavy. And yeah, what are the questions? I feel like you had a couple of questions there.
Me or
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to sit like so. I feel like the simple answer I'm getting is like POA plugs into Pacto, not the other way around.
Um, well, yeah, I mean, this is like as this being a user interface, having tools that plug in and then building curated interfaces for that is how um, we would do things. Because under the hood, the way transactions are being signed on the Rust backend is we use Alloy. We have so basically, how would a POA integration work? We take the POA interfaces in Solidity, we convert them to Rust, plug that into the backend here, so that we have a there's two ways to do it. We can have an open API or we can have curated. I prefer the curated direction because then we can build, interfaces that are more compatible with those protocols.
Okay, sick. What do you think of the like folding into Signal as like a distribution channel?
Like, I think I already told you, and I think you already made a PR maybe about being able to DM from Pacto straight into Signal.
Oh, okay. Let me add that to the PR. Hold on.
And do that.
You do have a problem with like what's it called? Group chats. I made an issue for as well. That's kind of a blocker for this, but when you get a chance.
Okay, yeah, let me check that. I've been a little bit swamped, but also if you want to do a one-on-one meet later in the week or whenever. But yeah, let's ping me, DM me, and I'll check all that.
All right. I'm having my agents tag you on GitHub. Very human. Very 2026. So human. Wow.
Ron, this one's for you. All right. Any other questions?
Doesn't look like it.
I don't know. Yeah, if there's no other questions, I really appreciate all of you. And I think I have a few pending. Okay, cool. I'm accepting your friend requests right now. And if you want to join the hackathon, I can link you to that. Otherwise, I'll just keep you updated with when we launch the MVP, hopefully in August.
Sure. Thanks a lot for sharing.
Yeah, thanks.